Today I want to talk to you about how to avoid crashing your drone and some of the most common mistakes that drone pilots make all the time. And the first one is crucial, it's not waiting for GPS lock. So when you first get this drone as a new pilot, you're going to want to fly it as quick as possible. Don't just get to that location though and take off straight away. Turn the drone on, turn the controller on and wait until you have GPS lock, and you'll hear the audible announcement saying that home point is updated. That means you've then got GPS lock. Then you can go off and fly. And if you want to get GPS lock even quicker, what I tend to do is I'll take the drone off and I'll just let it hover in place about a meter off the ground. And normally that gets you GPS lock a little bit quicker. But this will allow you then to have a home point. So if the signal gets disconnected, it will come straight back to you. But also with GPS lock, your flight is going to be a lot more stable. Do not go off and fly without GPS lock. Now both these drones here have sensors, so make sure you turn these on. These will detect obstacles and either brake or bypass them, and they both work really well. The Mini 3 Pro has sensors at the front, back and the bottom, and the Mavic 3 Pro has sensors all around it, so make sure you use them. Without turning these on, you are risking crashing your drone so much easier. Also note that when you are flying in sports mode, which is this fun mode, it's a lot faster, you're going to want to try this because it's a lot of fun. The sensors are deactivated and won't work on any drone in sports mode. So just be super careful. Make sure when you're flying, especially as a beginner, you go onto your settings and you turn them sensors on. And I would set them to bypass majority of the time. Now, a downside to these sensors is that the Mini 3 Pro doesn't have any sideways sensor protection. The Mavic 3 Pro does, the Mini 3 Pro doesn't, and this is a massive reason why people are crashing their Mini 3 Pros. It's because they think it's invincible. It's not. So it won't detect anything from the side. So when you're flying sideways, it will continue and it will crash into whatever that object is. So you've got to be super careful. Flying forwards, backwards, or downwards, it's going to detect objects and it will either brake or bypass, but sideways, it won't, and this is where problems can happen and a huge reason why you're going to crash your drone. Now this is one we can't really avoid, but you can actually try to minimize this, and this is distractions. So how you can avoid distractions yourself, and also how you can avoid distractions from other people. So what about yourself first of all? So when you get to that location, you want to actually think, right, what do I want to take photos of? What do I want to film? What's my end goal here? And you want to get your controller and be really focused on getting those shots. Now fortunately now we have the DJI RC Pro and DJI RC, so we have this screen built in, so you don't have to faff around putting our phone into here, having our phone with us all the time, and then start off filming. So what used to happen before is on the DJI M1 controller, you'd be in that location, you'd be just going off flying, and then you'd be like getting a call and you've got this like controller strapped to your head because your partner's just ringing you asking you what you want for tea. Yeah, I'll just have a takeaway tonight, please. Yeah, okay, I'm just filming though. Can I get back to you? Yeah, all right. And then you just go off filming. Oh, and then you get a text message saying Domino's 2-for-1 offer tonight, and you're so distracted. So we can avoid that now because now you've got the actual controller with the screen built in. So this is much better. So to avoid all this, just turn your phone off, or put it at least on like do not disturb for just an hour when you're in that location so you can really concentrate. Because what you'll find is you'll be on that phone, somebody will be ringing you, asking you these questions, and then you're not concentrating. So your drone could just be hovering, but then the wing could take it and crash into something. Or you could actually not realize that you're actually on the phone and your finger is on the controller stick. Meanwhile, that drone is just crashed into a tree. Don't be distracted. All right, this one. Okay, it's time. This is about being distracted from other people. So we have these flying cameras that people are going to be naturally curious about what they are. You'll have people from all over the place shouting, asking you questions about the range, how far can it go? You'll be like turning around, looking at all these people who are just shouting questions at you. I live 70 miles away, can it get to me? I've heard that range is really good on there. Can it get to me over here? What's the range like on that? Oh, is that the Mavic 3 Pro? Can that go further? It's normally range related questions, but it's just trying to say, yeah, it can. Yeah, it's a Mini 3 Pro. I'll speak to you in a minute when I've landed. But don't, whatever you do, let anyone have a go of your drone. I've seen this before. I've literally been cringing. So if people come up to you and say, oh, can I have a go? Don't give them a go because you don't know if they can even fly your drone. They could end up crashing it. They could crash into someone else. It could cause so many problems. So distractions are going to be there, unfortunately, and it's just how you deal with them. So this happens quite a lot, and this is drunk drone flying. So you get to a really nice location and you're having a few beers, then the sun starts to set and you go, right, let's get my drone out. So you're there flying your drone, but you've had a bit too many. Is this a good idea? Well, it's not, obviously. So you're not going to be as aware of your surroundings. You're going to actually be too confident. So you're going to actually be doing things a bit more risky. But you could also be committing an offence in your country that you're in. Now, certain countries, you can't be intoxicated when you're flying drone at all. Some, there's like a bit of a grey area. But majority of countries all around the world, it's about, is your actions reckless? Have you caused damage to something or somebody in a reckless way? So let's just say worst case scenarios, you find your drone, you actually crashed it into a building, they call the police on you, the police come out and you're absolutely trolled. It's not going to go well. So I would fly the drone, land it, and then look at the actual shots that you've got and go, oh, that's fantastic, let's celebrate, and then have some beers. Don't do it the other way around. Active Track is a feature I absolutely love. I use it all the time, and I love it even more on the Mavic 3 Pro. On the Mini 3 Pro, it's good, but I feel like I'm risking my drone every single time I use it, and this is a huge reason why people are crashing their drones. Let's just go back to that issue of this has no side sensors. So what does Active Track do? Well, you just draw a box around you. Now, you could be just walking, you could be running, you could be on a bike, you could be on a car, and the drone will just follow you, and it will keep you centered all the time. But because it's keeping you centered, what it's doing, it's doing these little sideways movements potentially to make sure that you're centered on that path all the time, following you. Now, the drawback to this is it can't detect on the sideways motion, as we mentioned, any trees, poles, could be telephone lines. And this is a huge reason why people are crashing their drones, because they're using Active Track, thinking their drone's invincible because the sensors are on, but it's actually hitting things on this sideways motion. Now, you can avoid this a couple of ways. You can go into the settings on the Mini 3 Pro and you can actually disable sideways flight altogether, but you'll get this really rigid, straight Active Track. It doesn't look good at all. The other way is actually just be aware of it. So as you're actually flying, look in the location, and if there's loads of trees and telephone lines and poles everywhere, just think maybe this isn't a good location to actually use Active Track. Now, a tip for you, always have your finger hovering over that pause button. So if you're just walking, the drone's tracking you, and you look on the screen and go, actually, it's getting a bit close to these trees here, I don't want it to continue any longer. Just hit that pause button and it will instantly stop and potentially avoid that crash. Active Track is great, but it is extremely risky on the Mini 3 Pro. Now, for some reason, beginners really like flying their drone indoors. They don't want to go outside yet because that's a bit too risky. I'm not confident enough yet to fly my drone outside. So I'll just go in my living room and I'll just take it off here. And this is a terrible idea. So as we said at point 1, indoors, you're not going to have GPS lock, so your drone's going to be unstable. You've also got loads and loads of different things that drone can crash into. So you've got sofas, you've got walls, you've got the dog, you've got the kids running around. You're going to have letters and envelopes flying all over the place because of the wind that this drone's producing. It's a terrible idea. It's also a terrible idea to go into your back garden as well if you've never flown the drone before, because you've got potential issues there. You've got a neighbour looking over to you, asking you questions about this. You could crash into your fence. Please just go and get your drone, watch a few of my videos, and then go to a big open space with not a lot of trees, no telephone wires. Take off there and it'll be much better and safer. Okay, these last two I actually really do like doing a lot, but I'm aware of the risks. The first one is sports mode. Sports mode's a lot of fun. It's going to increase that speed of the drone and its movements, but this can cause a lot of crashes, especially for beginners. So never ever use sports mode in small confined spaces. You'll crash it instantly. The sensors are also disabled all the time as well, so you've got no actual sensors on any of these drones in sports mode, but it's a lot of fun. So I love it because I like the sound that these drones make in sports mode, especially the Mavic 3 Pro. It just sounds incredible when you're actually flying as fast as possible in a straight line and then just pull back and it's like, it's fantastic. It just sounds like a jet. Awesome. It's also fantastic for getting to a location as well. So if you're actually rushing, you want this sunset, but you want the drone a little bit closer to the beach, you can put it into sports mode and you can get to that location quicker. The downside to sports mode is the most obvious one, the sensors. So people put it into sports mode, they don't have the drone relatively high, there's lots of obstacles in that area, and the drone, because it's going much faster, it's going to take a lot longer to stop, it's going to crash into all these different obstacles. You've got no protection from this drone. It's like saying, yeah, it's fun this, but listen, you're on your own. And this one is flying through objects or flying close to things. So this will give you fantastic depth and perspective when you're flying close to, say, a mountain or a tree, or flying through an object. Now, I really enjoy doing this, but it takes a lot of practice and confidence, so I wouldn't say for beginners to do this. If you're going to do this, you need to turn your sensors off, which then brings more risk as well. If you've got the sensors on, the drone will be like, no, you're not going through there. It'll either stop. So it'll then try and like avoid and go around places. It won't let you go through this gap. Or if it does, it's forced, and it'll be like shaky movements. It'll look terrible. So you turn them sensors off. So now I'm in full control and I can fly through this gap with more risk. So only do this when you're confident and you've been flying this drone for quite a while. So those are my main tips there on how you can avoid crashing your drone. So if you did enjoy that, make sure you hit that like button. It really does help out. And just to let you know as well, so I've got cheat sheets for the Mini 3 Pro. These have been out now for a while and you absolutely love these. These go through all the key settings about how to change these to get the most out of your drone, the best settings to use for photos, videos, but also fail-safe, so what to do in emergencies, problems. But I've also brought them out now, the Mavic 3 Pro, and these are awesome. They're like a complete game changer. Fantastic high-res coloured manuals for everybody can go and pick up. So you get 20 different cheat sheets for the Mavic 3 Pro. They're available right now on my website. These are awesome. They're still just $9.99. Go and check them out. So I really do hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope you enjoyed my acting, and it was a lot of fun making this video. So I'll see you guys on the next one. If you haven't already subscribed, you're really going to want to, because there's a lot of decent content coming really soon. Bye-bye.